nothing to lose, so I can't stop, won't stop falling into you. My God, oh my God, 'cause no one's gonna love me like you do. Alright, I've got nothing to lose, so I can't stop, won't stop falling into you. Alright, alright, I'm falling into you. I'm falling into you, my God. I'm falling into you. I'm falling into you. I'm falling into you. I'm falling into you.
You give me sight to see you and trembling. I come alive. All of my heart is for you. Still you want more. I feel the pull of the tide drawing me closer. Your love is all that I want, drawing me closer. I feel the pull of the tide drawing me closer. Your love is all that I want. Your love is all that I want. You give me sight to see you and trembling. I come alive. All of my heart is for you. Still you want more. I feel the pull of the tide drawing me closer. Your love is all that I want, drawing me closer. I feel the pull of the tide drawing me closer. Your love is all that I want. Your love is all that I want. I feel the pull of the tide drawing me closer. Your love is all that I want, drawing me closer. I feel the pull of the tide drawing me closer. Your love is all that I want. Your love is all that I want. Brought to life, I can't contain this light in me. Now I see your love is changing everything. Brought to life, I can't contain this light in me. Now I see your love is changing everything. Brought to life, I can't contain this light in me. Now I see your love is changing everything. I feel the pull of the tide drawing me closer. Your love is all that I want, drawing me closer. I feel the pull of the tide drawing me closer. Your love is all that I want. Your love is all that I want. I feel the pull of the tide drawing me closer. Your love is all that I want, drawing me closer. I feel the pull of the tide drawing me closer. Your love is all that I want. Your love is all that I.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the gathering. Happy birthday. Let's stand and worship together this morning. I was buried beneath my shame. Who could carry that kind of weight? It was my too, till I met you. Yeah. I was breathing but not alive. All my failures I tried to hide. It was my turn till I met you. Let's sing this out. You called my name and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. You called my name and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. Now your mercy has saved my soul. And now your freedom is all that I know. The old made new, Jesus, till I met you. See, you call my name, you call my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. All right, church, we're going to lift this up this morning. Sing, I needed rescue. I needed rescue. My sin was heavy, but chains break at the weight of your glory. I needed shelter. I was an orphan. Now you call me a citizen of heaven. When I was broken, you were my healing. Now your love is the air that I'm breathing. I have a future. My eyes are open. 'Cause when you call my name, I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. We thank you, Lord.
Heath and I were looking for a church in Asheville, and we tried a few. We decided to attend the gathering that Sunday morning. Our first impression was the people in the parking lot with the lightsabers, and it seemed like it was a fun church and good experience, and people were really excited to see us. And we walked away thinking this could be our home church. This could be the place that we call home.
I remember very distinctly Free being in the parking lot when we got out of the car, and her enthusiasm welcoming us that morning. And I was shocked by the enthusiasm in a good way, because it's not something that I had been experiencing in churches that we have been attending. And then when we were walking around to the sanctuary, Rael greeted us and took us to the sanctuary just to make sure that we knew where we were going and what to expect. And that meant a whole lot to us that somebody took the time to do that. And I know that it's so important to us as a church to have those amazing first impressions, and for sure that was something that was very significant to us. We did attend the coffee house that took place that Wednesday night after the first time we visited the gathering, and I remember when we were driving home that night after meeting the staff and meeting some of the other people in the church, thinking, these are people that I can see us having a future with, and just feeling a settled feeling in my heart, knowing that that's something that we had longed for such a long time, and feeling like we had found a place where we could finally jump in.
It was a place of authentic community, and that meant a lot to us, a place that we could share our story and be part of a larger tapestry of Christian life together. And this was a place that we wanted to be part of long term.
And I think that the value that we've found in the life groups and the friendships that we've made and the family that we've made has been invaluable for us. We spent our first year in Asheville hoping for people that we could have relationships with, and that was such a struggle to be here for a year without that. And so to then come to this place where we felt an instant connection with people and instantly had the opportunity to be in community with people that we could be honest with and share our stories with and not feel judged, or just feel like we were loved regardless of our past or the things that we had been through, was so important to us and has been just an amazing thing, I think, for both of us to know that this is our home and where we're supposed to be.
Alone in my sorrow and dead in my sin, lost without hope, no place to begin. Your love made a way to let mercy come in. When death was arrested and my life began, the ash was redeemed, only beauty remained. My orphan heart was given a name. My morning grew quiet, my feet rose to dance. When death was arrested and my life began. Come on, sing this with me. Oh, your grace so free washes over me. You have made me new, now life begins with you. Released from my chains, I'm a prisoner no more. Your grace. Devil's cross. Darkness rejoiced as though heaven had lost. But then Jesus arose with our freedom in hand. Oh, that's when death was arrested and my life began. That's when death was arrested and my life began. Oh, your grace so free washes over me. You have made me new, now life begins with you. Oh, yes, it does. It's your ransom pouring down on us. You have made us new, now life begins with you. So yo, we're free. Oh, we're free, free, forever we're free. Come join the song of all the redeemed. Yes, we're free, free, forever, amen. When death was arrested and my life began. Oh, we're free, free, forever we're free. Come join the song of all the redeemed. Yes, we're free, free, forever, amen. When death was arrested and my life began. That's when death was arrested, my life began. That's when death was arrested and my life began.
Amen. Hey, so good to be here this morning. We're so glad you're here. It's a beautiful Sunday morning to celebrate 2 years as a church. We can celebrate that. What a great day. So glad you're here. Why don't you take a seat for just a few minutes? My name is Robbie Denson. I'm the executive pastor here at the Gathering Church, and we're so glad that you're with us. If this morning is your first time, thank you for coming to check us out today. When you came in this morning, on your seat, you saw a program, and that program is just there for you. We want to make it easy to be here at the Gathering. We want to maybe get rid of any questions that make it uncomfortable for you to be here. And so from the parking lot to the coffee to when you walk in, we just want to make this a good experience. And so check out that program. If you've got questions about us, maybe the answers are right there. If you don't see them there, come ask one of our Dream Team members a little bit more information. On the bottom of that program is a Connect card. That Connect card is there for you. We would love for you to fill that out, especially if it's your first time, and just mark that it's your first time. We want to know who's coming to join us. And if it's your first time and you fill that Connect card out with as much as information as you feel comfortable with, drop it in the offering basket later in service, or head over to our cafe after service and give it to our Dream Team member at our Connect Center. We've got a free gift for you. That's just us saying thank you for being here. We don't want to take anything from you this morning. In fact, we want to give to you. And so thank you for being here. Fill that Connect card out during service at some point. Drop it off at one of those spots, and we'll just give you a free gift just for being here today. Today is Growth Track Step 3. Many of you have been in Growth Track this month. Even if you haven't gone through Growth Track Steps 1 and Step 2, you can pick up today at Growth Track Step 3, no problem. Today is all about discovering the leader inside of you. That's what we believe. You hear us say this all the time. We believe that there is a leader inside of you that you may need help discovering. And so as I say this, don't write me off. Don't just say that's for somebody else, because it's for you. And so I would encourage you today at 12:45 to come on back. We'll have lunch provided. We've got childcare provided. We want to make it as easy as possible to come. And come and join us as our lead pastor shows us what it looks like to develop leadership as God's Word teaches us. So come on back for that. Today, if you've already been to the cafe, you may have noticed something a little bit different. Today is Connect Sunday. What we want to do today is put all of our dream teams in front of you for you to say, you know what, it's time for me to get involved and invested. So whenever you head over to our cafe after service, we've got some of our dream team members over there that can answer questions for you. We've got cupcakes over there to entice you. I was walking by, I saw a cupcake with a Girl Scout cookie on top of it. And that's cheating. That's like adding bacon to a dinner dish, you know? And I saw, somebody said they got strawberry almond. We have high quality cupcakes over there, strawberry and almond. I'm not even sure what that means yet. I will eventually, right? And so come on over, hang out with us after service, meet some of our staff, meet some of our dream team members, and sign up to be a part of the dream team. Sign up to join the local church and to make a difference. So head on over there. We're going to have a good time after and between services today. Hey, next week we start a brand new series called Do It Scared. This is a series that you're not going to want to miss. This is a series that's going to encourage you, empower you to go for it. And so I want to encourage you to be here next week. Invite some friends, invite some neighbors. Begin to pull people in to what you love so much about the Gathering Church. So I'd love for you to invite your friends next week as we start a brand new series called Do It Scared. Hey, we got a video for you, and then Pastor John Mark will be up in just a moment with a message.
Well, happy birthday, Gathering Church. Come on. Yeah. 2 years. 2 years. You guys, big thanks to our creative team for working so hard on that video and getting all the decorations together for this morning. My name is John Mark Redwine. I'm the lead pastor, and this is my wife, Raelle. And we are so happy to welcome you guys to our second anniversary today. I can't even believe it. It's been 2 years since we launched this church, which is hard to believe because it feels like it's been a lot longer than that, if I'm being honest. And so it's been 5 years since God put this dream in our hearts, and And here we are. And so we want to celebrate with you today. We want to be able to celebrate what God's done. We want to talk about what we believe He's going to do, and just take a pause, take a break this morning just to celebrate the last 2 years at the Gathering Church and celebrate the next 20. So it's going to be good. It's going to be a good day. Before we do anything else, I would love to introduce you guys to the team that makes all this possible, our staff team here at the Gathering. So you guys come on up. I would like to just tell you who they are and tell you a little bit about what they do so that you can get to know your staff this morning. Maybe a lot of times, maybe all you get to see is me and Robert and Robbie because we're on stage, but we have an incredible staff team that works so hard for us. Everybody planned out their positions really well. As you can tell this morning, they know exactly where to stand. And so I'm just going to start down here, and I want to tell you everybody's names and what they do. And so this is Robbie and Chelsea down here. Robbie is our executive pastor here, and his job is to pretty much do anything that requires operations and work. And so what I do is I come up with all these crazy ideas, and then I say, Robbie, what do you think? Can you make that happen? And Robbie goes, I'll figure it out. And then he goes and he figures it out. And so, man, we appreciate him and his family so much. They've got 2 boys, Josiah and Mackay, and they are an incredible family, and I'll tell you more about them in a minute. This is Robert Knight and his wife, April. They are our production. Robert is our production pastor. April is our artist in residence. And so, man, they've got 3 kids now. Let's see if I can remember all their names. Jedediah, Penelope, and Jericho. Nailed it. It's a lot of kids. And so we appreciate them so much as well. Robert is responsible for everything so far as worship and technical production, all the stuff that happens in the back of the house, the creative aspect of the Gathering Church, and anything else that we can think of to ask him to do, Robert happily does with a servant's heart. And so we appreciate them so much. You guys have seen this handsome face before. This is Brian Antonor. He's one of our worship leaders here, and his wife Sarah Antonor is our kids director. So if you've got kids at the Gathering Church, Sarah Antonor is responsible for the incredible experience they're having downstairs right now. I can't even begin to tell you guys how much we value kids and family here at the Gathering. I mean, if you've got kids, you know it's important to us. And Sarah works so hard. She doesn't get seen very often. She doesn't get a lot of visibility up here, but you need to know that this girl works hard for your kids because she loves your family. And so y'all thank her when you see her. And then over here, this is Free Bruce and her husband, Will Bruce. Free is our administrative assistant at the Gathering Church, and man, they serve in just about every area you could imagine on Sundays. They are both here from about 6 o'clock in the morning until 2 o'clock in the afternoon because they love this church so deeply. I am a disorganized person in life. If you ask me to do something for you, I will say yes, and I will never, ever follow through unless I tell Free about it, and she helps me to get things accomplished. And so I just appreciate these guys so much. Couldn't do this without them. And so would you guys give them a round of applause and tell them thank you. Thank you guys so much for your sacrifice, for your hard work, for everything that you've given, for everything that your families give. We appreciate you. We love you. You're dismissed. Get off the stage now. Come on, it's my turn. Love those guys. And then who you don't see up here this morning is our amazing dream team. I mean, we literally couldn't do this without the dream team. All the coordinators and leaders that give so much beyond their normal work days. They're giving so much all week long, coming in here on a long day on Sunday morning and just pouring their hearts out to make a difference for others. Man, we love the dream team. We're so grateful for you guys. We know that this is not something that has been done by any one person. We are here today, 2 years later, because of the sacrifice and hard work of many, many people. And so thank you to everybody, and we're just honored to be celebrating it with you this morning. Wow, well, what a milestone this is as a church, 2 years. And so what I'd love to do is share a little bit, what we'd love to do is share a little bit of our family's story today. Because for us, the gathering was born out of a dream 5 years ago. Did you know that? It's been 5 years.
I do know
In
that,
March.
yes.
March is 5
I'm
years
aware.
since we felt like God whispered this dream for this
Yeah.
church in this city with you here today. And so it was 5 years ago. Rael and I were in Big Sur, California, praying about what God was going to do next in our lives. Can you tell us a little bit about what we were dreaming that day?
Well, we, had the smell of the salty air in the mountains, so that always is a good place to have
Boosts
some dreams.
The spirituality of it.
But we really, when we got married, we knew we were going to be in ministry, and we didn't know exactly what that looked like, but we had committed to that together. But while we were in Big Sur, we really needed answers as far as what this dream meant of starting a church, and are we capable, and how do we do this, and all those scary questions that come with that. And so we just really wanted to spend that time asking God for specific answers to our big dream.
Yeah.
And so with that, I think our biggest heart was we wanted to have a church that people felt like they were at home, and that we felt like we were at home. We didn't want to be in a place that we didn't love where we lived and that we, struggled being there. We wanted it to be a place that we could call home as well. So that was something that we prayed for, was, God, can we live in a place that we love? And that was really important for us. And then the other thing was we wanted a church that we could come in with our own hang-ups and heartaches that we went through church ourselves, and that we could meet people in the same way that we had felt our experience in church was like too. And we wanted to find freedom from feeling the baggage that we may have come to church with, and that we could find freedom from that and walk into a church that there was grace to cover all the hurts that we had felt previously.
Do you remember that night? We were laying in the tent, and we had this campground. It was pretty awesome. There's a campground down Highway 1 in California that is literally on a cliff. Like, our tent was sitting at like maybe 10 feet from this cliff where the ocean was splashing up about 50 feet below. And so we were sitting there in this tent. We've been praying for a long time together, just about what was going to happen next. You remember that moment that we stopped and we said, God's going to make us plan. I was praying that God would release me from this calling. that I could I was so happy at the church we were at in California, and but we both looked at each other and we said, this is it. God's calling us to do it, and He's calling us to do it now.
Yep.
And so life moved quick from there. Yep. We over the course of the next year, our family worked really hard. I put in about 25, 30 hours a week for the Coast Guard. I was still in the Coast Guard, and then about 30 hours a week for the church that I was working for as the student director, and then about 12 hours a week on seminary, and then about another 10 to 15 hours a week putting together the initial details for this church. So it was literally...
We had a lot of time
we
for each
paused
other
for
at
dinner
that
together,
moment.
and then I would work till midnight every night,
Yeah.
and it was a push. It was a push for our family. That same year, literally about 2 months later, Robbie and Chelsea had been friends of ours for a long, long time, and they were out visiting family. Lucas Denson, actually Robbie's brother, who is our life group coordinator, lived in the same apartment complex as us. They were visiting him, and we went to a baseball game together, and Chelsea made the mistake of leaning over and saying, so what's you guys' plans for the next 2 years? And so we said, well, they involve you. And they said yes, eventually, after about 2 more years of praying. That felt like maybe about 6 months of praying about it. We invited them and their family to leave the stable, established church that they were at to come follow their crazy friends out on this dream adventure to go do something that didn't make a whole lot of sense at the time, that we had not put any planning or structure into yet. All it was a few good ideas, and just a passionate heart to see lives changed in a wonderful city, and so that they had never been to yet, by the way.
Yeah.
And they said yes. And so Robbie and Chelsea came on board, and then they joined us that year. Later that year in the fall, we took our first trip together to Asheville to start dreaming and planning about the church. Why did we choose Asheville, Rael?
Well, like I said, we just wanted to be in a community, in a place that we loved, and Asheville was the place that we came to a lot when we were in college to kind of get to enjoy the outdoors. We were in Charleston at the time, so you get relief from the humidity and stickiness. And I'm not from the South, and so Asheville is kind of the next best thing. You get your seasons, but I think it was more so we felt like, we didn't have any kids at the time, and we wanted to live in a place that felt like we could raise a family and that we could call home for a long time. And Asheville was that place. And then the other side of that, so that was kind of, for us, why we felt led to Asheville. But we just loved the unique side of Asheville and the passionate people, the creativity.
Yeah.
For me, I studied world religions and in college, and I just liked the idea that we could live in a place that had a greater worldview than what I grew up in and what you grew up in, and just wanted to be able to feel free to kind of see all sides of the world in a small community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was a city that was passionate and different, and but also so removed from the church culture that we see so much of in the Southeast, intentionally so. And we had felt that in our own lives. We had removed ourselves from church culture, both of us at one point or another, and had come back when we realized the truth of the message of Jesus and how much it really was connected to who we are as people. And so we just had a dream. We just had a dream that this would be a city where people would come back, where people would have the ability to come back, would feel comfortable coming back, would feel like it was safe to go into a place of worship and be who they are and struggle with what they struggle with and what they have struggled with, but be accepted for that and be able to ask questions and then come into a genuine, real, honest relationship with Jesus.
And it felt like it was a place that, here there's so many giftings and talents, and we just saw that there was potential for God to be the center of that, and that's not what you see when you come to Asheville or you hear about Asheville. You don't hear about God being the center of this city, and we just knew, like, what would this city be like for people to find their potential through a relationship with God. And that was our biggest, heart, was there's so much life here, and what if that life is sought after
all
God?
This raw, untapped potential that you see in every person in this city that we know was put there by God for a purpose, to serve His purpose. And that if we could connect people with that purpose, that we would be able to see a city unleashed for the gospel of Jesus.
Yes.
The same year that we felt called to start this church here, the governor of North Carolina referred to Asheville as a cesspool of sin. And so that to us was confirmation that God was sending us to the right place, because we had belief that this wasn't going to be a cesspool of sin, that when God got done with it, it was going to be more like a holy hot tub.
You'll hear this joke a lot.
That's one of my favorite jokes. That's one of my favorite. I listen to it all the time at home. And so we just believed that God had a dream for this city. And so the next year was a lot more hard work. I graduated seminary, but rolled all those hours into strategy and fundraising for starting this church. Rael was working long hours at REI, and it was a stretch for us. It was a stretch for our family, but God put a dream in our hearts. And we knew that God was calling our family to this great adventure to bring His message of purpose to a lost generation of people here in the city of Asheville. We knew that He called us here to make Him famous in this city. We knew that in this city there was loneliness, emptiness, that there was people trapped in addiction, that there were marriages on the brink, and that God was calling us here to start a church that would bring hope and life to all of them through the only source of hope and life in Jesus Christ. And so we soldiered on. In 2014, Robert and April said yes to joining the team, and then in 2015, it all came together. In April of that year, Rael and I had our first child, Eleanor Rose, our sweet little girl, And if anybody who's had kids knows, the best time to do all the biggest life changes in your whole life is immediately after having your first child. And so 2 months later,
We didn't know.
we moved from California to Asheville. In fact, we were so ambitious, we decided to take a 4,000-mile road trip in a 50-year-old camper with her brother and his 4 kids as well. And it was a great fun time that we don't remember at all.
No. And Stacy and Sarah were
Yeah,
there
Sarah
with us,
Wolf,
too.
who, back in our front of house, almost always sitting right back there. She was with us. Stacy Johnson as well, one of our good friends, and we came out here from California to do this incredible thing. And so we got here in June or in July, and Robbie and Chelsea had been here since the spring. Robert and April would come the following month. And then alongside about 20 other people, friends and family who said, we believe in this vision, we believe in this city, we're coming as well. We arrived in the city of Asheville. Do you remember what the first 6 months were like for us?
Well, I don't remember a lot of it. I was very lost in motherhood and postpartum depression, but I remember it was just such an emotional roller coaster of feeling the side of who are we to lead this community that we have a dream to do, and then people just kept coming and saying, we want to partner with you and be a part of this. And I think that was God's confirmation, as to keep pushing along and know that we were supposed to be there, even though it felt like everything in our personal lives were crumbling, and you had just left your career of 9 years in the Coast Guard, and entering parenthood, and all of that was a large complication to trying to be leaders and vulnerable with people. But I think that was also the biggest life-changing thing for us, is that we could share all of those hurts that we had in the midst of trying to make this dream happen.
It was hard.
Yes.
So we got here, and we just we just had no idea what was about to happen, and we believed that God was going to transform our lives, and we believed that He'd called us here for that purpose. And we came and we met all kinds of incredible people and got to know our neighbors and our community, and we built this incredible launch team. We built friends like family on our staff and that first launch team here at the gathering. And we believed that at the center of our calling for the church was this idea of real community, authentic community. Because we had both experienced that sometimes in church culture that you kind of have to put your church face on before you go into church. That you're expected, before you go into the park, get out of the car in the parking lot, you're kind of expected to kind of, pull everything together, get that tie straightened up, and walk in there feeling like everything's okay, even though life's crumbling around you. And what we felt was that the church was supposed to be about authentic community. But that it was supposed to be about people that were okay with doing life with one another the way that we are. One of the things that, as we were dreaming about what the church would be, the passage that kept coming up in our hearts, and we kept believing that this was God's dream for the church and His plan for the church, is in Acts chapter 2, 42 through 46. It kind of describes the very beginning of the church and what it was like for people. It says, they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship, to the breaking of bread and to prayer. Everyone was filled with awe at the many wonders and signs performed by the apostles. And all the believers were together and had everything in common. They sold property and possessions to give to anyone who had need, and every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts. And they broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts. And verse 47 says that the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved. And that was not a result of the incredible preaching. It was a result of the incredible community.
Yes.
And that was what we were craving. And so we moved here, and it was a really hard season for our family. I was being stretched as a leader in ways I had never experienced before. And the stress of getting out of the military and kind of dealing with what that 9 years of my life was like was hard for me. And leading families, having the responsibility of all these families riding on what felt like riding on my shoulders, was hard for me, and Rael was going through bad postpartum depression. You didn't know which direction was up and down at that time. But we were able to come here, and even in the very beginning of this thing, feel like it was okay for us to be who we are. Feel like it was okay for us to struggle with what we were struggling with. Feel like it was okay to have our family dinner, our life group, people in our homes, and share with them what we were dealing with. And that was what we needed. And I remember thinking, even in those early days, that this is what our city needs. That
Yes.
this is what it needs to be okay for us to go through. So February 21st, 2016, 2 years ago this Sunday, we launched the Gathering Church. And it was fun. Can you
It was.
remember how it felt that day? Was it good?
It was great. It was
Yeah.
it was a celebration, and standing there, I felt like, how did this happen with us, just ordinary humans, trying to bring people a greater story, and it was just honoring to sit there, and it felt like we were a part of something and not that we were doing the work, because we had so many people around us doing it with us, and so that was the best part. It wasn't like this was what we did. It was like, wow, look at this community that has come together to make this happen.
It never has felt like, oh wow, look what I've done, look what our family's done. It's always felt like, wow, look what we've done.
Yep.
Look what these people have done alongside one another.
Yes.
And so look what God's doing through them. So what were some of your favorite highlights over the last 2 years?
I didn't want to go into everybody's specific
Personal life.
families
Because
either.
it's really
so
just all your most intimate and personal things that are our favorite highlights. So we're
yes.
going to start over here and work our way across the room.
I have the whole list of everybody's name. I didn't want to call anybody out specifically, but I think for us, starting the church, we went through counseling right away because we needed help with our marriage and just with my depression, and we were very open about that. And I think for the last 2 years, it is so refreshing to have somebody contact us and say, "Who's your counselor? How can I get
Let me
help?"
be specific about that, because when we came here, our family was under so much strain that our marriage was strained, and we were stressed, and we were not enjoying it the way that we should have been. And I think a lot of times that's one of the things that the church culture asks us to hide. And we're supposed to act and pretend like our marriage is perfect, but ours wasn't. And we were never in any danger of separation or anything like that, but we weren't living in the purpose that, I don't know what that is. They're blowing up more balloons back there.
I think so.
It's our new fog machine. That's the announcement today, is we now have a fog machine. And now this generator of some kind.
I think it hit the fuse.
I'm going to keep going.
Yeah.
So, the thing is for us and our family that we wanted to live in the very best that God had for us. We believe that Jesus created us to live in abundant life, full and abundant life. And so for us, we acknowledged that we weren't able to get to that place of health on our own.
Yeah.
So we went to a counselor, a Christian counselor, and it was transformative for our marriage. Our marriage is better today than it ever has been in any year past.
Yeah.
And so, we feel transformed by it. And we were open about that, always have been. And so that's what you were talking about.
Yeah. So to be able to have people have the freedom to ask those questions like that is part of, what a family is, and just having a safe place to be able to talk about that. And so for me, that's been a really specific thing. Another thing was this past fall at Draw Near, which is the women's retreat. This was the second year of it, and Mary Beth was kind of talking through how important it is to have a church community, and she just out of honor and out of just transformation, she asked, "Will any of you women stand up that have you and your families been influenced by the Gathering Church?" And it was like 30 women stood up of just their lives have been changed by this community. And that's what we hope for. We hope that people have transformation in a healthy way and in a way that they feel proud to be a part of something that brings their family joy, and that they can walk through the hurt and the pain with us. And we just want to partner with that. And so to hear that, and then later on we had our Christmas Dream Team celebration in December, and we had around 100 volunteers that were sitting in that room, and the same thing happened, and the entire room stood up of people that have been changed by this community. It's honoring, because that's our heart, is that people's lives will change for the glory of God, and so those are some big highlights for me.
Yeah, it's been everything. It's been more than we ever could have dreamed of. God has done more than we ever dreamed He would, ever asked or imagined that He would. God has transformed lives. He's restored hearts. He's set captives free, and He's led people to their purpose, and He's brought them victory. And it's happened in our family too.
Yes.
What kind of transformations has our family been through in the last 2 years?
I'll say this. I never in a million years thought I would be a pastor's wife. That's just not like my personality. So here I am. Thanks, God. But I think that was kind of, this last few years has transformed like what that is for me. And really that's just being who I am and who God is calling me to be. So I feel like I've discovered my purpose, is that, yes, I'm a pastor's wife, but that doesn't change like the person that I am, and I can be true to myself. And the other thing is, I never thought I would stay at home all day long with with children. We have a second one on the way, but really just this community has taught me like how important investing in our kids are. And I really fought it hard. I tried to find work and figure out how to be with my daughter, but also do things that I like outside of that. And I'm learning to find that while staying at home with her. And it's a challenge, but like I'm learning that, we have God-sized dreams, and we also have like our daily calling to just love God and love people. And just learning, for me, I've learned, it looks simple on a day-to-day basis. There's, especially in Asheville, there's so many entrepreneurs and people that, have these dreams and goals and aspirations, but learning it's okay to live out the ordinary days with that dream still on your heart, and you can kind of do both. And so that's transformed me, of like, I don't have to have this super cool life of like, I have this awesome job or whatever, but I have a really cool opportunity to raise my child, to hopefully be a good kid. Oh, it's hard and embarrassing often, but it's parenthood, and I think that's really important for our next generation.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been, for our family, this has been a transformative journey, because we've been allowed to find freedom, and we've been allowed to discover our purpose together as a family. We've been able to work on our marriage. We've been in life groups every semester. It's a value for us that our staff is in life groups every single semester, or leading life groups every semester, because we believe we need community.
Yes.
And so I've been able to go into a life group once a week, every week, and be who I am. And you've been able to be who you are. And as a couple, we've been able to go through what we're going through, the celebrations and the hard days, and be held up alongside other people. And just, it's been life-changing for us. We're not the same family that we were 2 years ago because of the Gathering Church, because of the people at the Gathering Church and what they've meant to us. And so God's done amazing things in my family through this church, and I'm grateful for it. I'm so grateful for this woman right here. You guys, she is my stability. She's my rock. She is the person who is always there to catch me on my bad days and lift me back up, to point me in the right direction when I'm wandering off. And she does such a wonderful job with our family. And we are due next month with another daughter.
Yes.
And so 2 girls.
Yep.
So y'all be thinking about her, because this is going to be another exciting time.
It's a journey.
Actually,
yes.
new babies are the worst. If you've ever, just a lot of work, needy, don't really give much back in return. So pray for us as that's coming. This has been our family's journey. But what I love about the gathering is that it's not just about our family. It's not about what God's done in our family. It's also about what He's done in yours. And so here's one of your stories.
So my husband Andy and I and our daughter moved here about 1.5 years ago from Raleigh, where we had a very wonderful church community. We had a very strong, tight-knit small group that we were a part of for 3 years, and we knew that when we moved here, we wanted to find something that was just like that and very similar. And we had searched and didn't quite find a place that we could call home like we did our church back in Raleigh. So we were almost to the point where we were just going to watch the services online from our other church and just call it a day, until I opened my Facebook app the week before the gathering launched their 2 services. And I told Andy, I said, man, we've got to check this church out. This is pretty awesome. So we got on the website and we both were like, yeah, let's go check it out. So we came to the 11 o'clock service, and the moment we drove into the parking lot, we were welcomed with smiles and waves and just the friendliness, and we had a really great feeling. And then we took our 2-year-old down to gather kids, and she walked right in and was so excited to be there, and she was just like, bye Mom, bye Dad. They had no problem leaving us, and so we knew that if she was comfortable, then we were going to be a lot more comfortable as well. And then we listened to John Mark's message that day, and we knew that this is a place that God wanted us to be. It was just unbelievable timing. It was just, he definitely knew that we were supposed to be here. And since then, we've been through all 4 of the growth tracks. Andy and I have both joined a life group, and now we are both serving for the gathering, and couldn't be more excited to call the gathering home for us.
Stories like that one. Isn't that good? I'm blown away every time I get the opportunity to talk to somebody and just find out what God's doing in their lives, and how your lives are being transformed alongside one another, because that's happening every day at the Gathering Church. You guys are standing beside one another, holding each other up, walking through new seasons of life, different seasons of life, helping each other find freedom. Folks are going through Growth Track, discovering their purpose, serving in that purpose. It's happening every day here at the Gathering. We are making a difference together in this community, and it has been so exciting just to watch it happen. So here's what happened in the numbers over the last year at the Gathering Church. Now let me clarify. We're not obsessed with numbers at the Gathering Church. We don't mark our achievements by numbers. It's not about celebrating what we've done in the numbers, but we believe that the numbers matter. That numbers matter because healthy things grow. And so we need to be able to track our health. We need to be able to track whether or not things are growing, and if something's not healthy, then we need to be able to address that. We also believe that every number matters because every number is another story. It's another person who's discovering their purpose, who's finding freedom, who is walking their way from darkness into light. And so they matter to us. We believe numbers matter to God as well. There's proof of this is just that there's even a book of the Bible called Numbers. So that's all you should need. There's an entire book of the Bible. All it is a whole bunch of numbers put together. We see God over and over again taking things that start out small and seem insignificant with humble beginnings. We see Him laying favor on them and see them grow beyond people's wildest imagination. One of my friends sent me a message this week that she was just praying about the gathering, and she had been reading in Genesis. In Genesis chapter 46:26, it tells this story of Joseph bringing all of his family members into Egypt. And his father, Jacob, came into the country of Egypt with all of his sons and their children and their wives and the total clan of Israel at that time. And it numbered about 70 people. 400 years later, when God would deliver the Israelites out of Egypt, they would number about 2 million people and would go on to become one of the most powerful nations in the world. Something with such humble beginnings, God put His favor on and led to unimaginable new heights. And so we are so excited to celebrate what God has done here at the Gathering Church. We started with just 40 people on a launch team meeting in this building over there in that room, talking about what we believed God would do, just 40 of us. Last February, we were running in attendance about 140 people on average. In fact, we were averaging almost 40 kids. Isn't that incredible? We've always had a ton of kids here at the Gathering Church. Well, this year, this February, our average attendance so far for 2018 has been 270 people. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that good? We've been averaging 75 kids downstairs in kids ministry. 75 kids. Isn't that good? Come on, somebody. That's a 92% growth over the last year, and that is not something that happens often. Can we give God some glory for what's happening at the Gathering Church? Here's the big one. In the last year, 36 people, in the last 12 months, 36 people have given their lives to Jesus at the Gathering Church. That's what it's all about. That's what we're here for. This is the most exciting thing. 153 adults just this semester are enrolled in life groups. That's a 78% of our average adult attendance in a life group finding freedom right now. Each month, an average of 10 adults goes through our growth track and discovers their purpose and gets on the dream team. As right now, we have more than 100 people on the dream team serving alongside one another to make a difference for our community. It's been a good year at the Gathering Church. God has blessed us beyond imagination. We could not have anticipated, projected, or expected that God would do what He has done in the last year. And this is only the beginning. This is the prologue. This is just where we're starting to get started. And God is going to continue to do great things through this church. His impact in this city has only just begun. There is a move of God in the Gathering Church. We believe His favor rests on this church. We're going to see Him do even bigger things in 2018. We expect to see even more growth, more people finding freedom. We expect to see more people joining the dream team and discovering their purpose. We expect to see more people baptized, more people entering into a first-time relationship with Jesus. We believe that what has happened so far has only just scratched the surface of what God is getting ready to do. We are in constant expectation of the next great thing that God's going to do here at the Gathering Church. And this year is the year that we expand our reach. So I want to share a little bit of vision with you for what's coming in 2018, because I believe 2018 is an important year for us. Because at the Gathering, we've always been focused, even fixated on the next generation. We believe that the next generation matters, that there's hope in the next generation, that investing in the next generation is investing in the future of the gospel, that investing in the next generation is investing in the hope of the world. And so we have never just had childcare downstairs. We don't do any babysitting of any kind here at the Gathering Church. We are investing in your kids down there right now. They're investing in my daughter down there right now. They're helping them to understand that they were created by a good God who has created them for a purpose. They're helping them to understand that Jesus wants to be their friend forever, that they matter, that they have value, all of these things that are going to give them the foundation they need to be who they were created to be when they grow up. We believe in it. We invest big in our kids' ministry because the next generation matters deeply to us. But we don't believe it should stop at the 5th grade. We don't believe that elementary school is enough because the next generation, as they get into those older years, middle school and high school, those are formative years for them. They're questioning their purpose, their identity, and their faith. They're forming inside of them in those years who they will be for the rest of their lives. It is a crucial time, and we need to be, as the church, ready to meet them there with the answers that they're looking for. So would you guys welcome to the stage Mikey and Morgan Holmes? Come on up. Because I am so excited to announce to you that 2018 is the year that the Gathering launches a brand new, life-giving student ministry in the city of Asheville. Isn't that good? Yeah. Man, I'm stoked. So this is Michael Holmes. Michael or Mikey? What do you want him to call you? Mikey?
I think we're going to go with Mikey.
Mikey
yeah.
it is.
Mikey.
This is Mikey Holmes, and Mikey is going to be our brand new student director, and his wife, Morgan, here as well. Mikey, tell us a little bit of your story this morning.
So we just moved to Asheville in this past August. We originally are from Houston area, Texas. We actually
barbecue and
Tex-Mex,
Longhorn steers,
and we
ride horses a lot.
We rode horses all the time. No, we didn't.
There
are a lot of rodeos.
Yeah.
But no, we
Morgan was a rodeo star in high school. So.
Also not true. John Mark knows our story, apparently. No, but we are from Texas. We met actually serving in a student ministry together. She worked with the girls, I worked with the guys. It's kind of a Hallmark movie. After that, we, for a minute, and then life happened. But no, we've been married 9 years this May, and we also spent 6 years in Illinois, where I was a student pastor in Illinois. We joined with a group of people to plant a church also in Illinois, and once that church ended up closing, unfortunately, we decided that we didn't know what to do next. We knew that God kind of had us in a season of kind of resting, but also praying and dreaming and seeking out what was next for us. We ended up moving back to Houston for about a year, and then I took a transfer to Asheville to be a store manager at Starbucks. We'd never been here before. I had never heard of Asheville before, and we just said, hey, it's beautiful, let's go. And I loved what Rael was saying about just we wanted to find a place that was a home for us as well. And so we moved here 6 months ago. First Sunday we were here, we walked into the gathering, and someone had a sign said that I was beautiful, and so I knew this was the place for me, and here we are. No, it was absolutely just instant. We knew we were home, and we knew that this place was going to be our new community, and so we're excited about what God's got next for us.
So I don't know if I've told you guys this, but for the last 2 years since we launched this church, so I was a student director in California, and I've been passionate about students for a long time. I believe in it. And so for the last 2 years, I've been praying about when the right time would be to start the Gatherings student ministry. I didn't want to wait too long. I wanted it to be soon. And what we felt like in prayer, and Robbie and I had a lot of conversations about this, was that it would be the right time to start it when the right family, when the right leaders showed up. When God sent us the people that He had created and designed and ordained to lead this student ministry. And you guys, Mikey and Morgan came into my life group last semester, and the first night that I met you guys at our life group, I felt God whisper into my heart, this is them. They're here.
Wow.
It's time. Get ready, because it's about to happen. And so your story, man. So how long have you guys been in ministry total?
We've been...
Before we were married.
Yeah, we've been serving in church ministry since I was 17, 18, since she was 17, 18. So we together for 9
years.
9 years together. Yep.
Yeah. So you guys have been in ministry for a long time.
Yeah.
And your story, the more that I learn about it, the more that I can see how God has woven together all the pieces for you to come in here and do this and reach this generation in this city. And so I'm so excited about it. Tell me, what are you most excited about this year as we launch the student ministry?
So I'm going to let Morgan talk about that.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
No, I think we're most excited about just being able to see students encounter Jesus in a way that changes everything for them. I mean, I think we just have no idea the impact it can have when a generation gets to see God clearly from the beginning, from that young age, where they're able to walk through things with someone by their side, accepting them and walking with them no matter what it is. We're also excited because it's such a broken and dark world to think about the gathering becoming a place where the students of Asheville feel like they belong as well, where they feel like they can know God and find freedom, discover purpose, make a difference. So we feel like God has been so faithful because he kept telling us, just trust me, just trust me. Like, I've got the calling part, you just live and trust me. And so we're just so excited that we get to pour our lives into creating opportunities, creating environments where students are gonna get to see God in a way where, honestly, we wish we had that kind of experience, and those experiences that we have had have been transformative. And so it's just exciting to get to be a part of what God's gonna do.
That's good. So what should people do who want to get involved? Look at all these volunteers waiting out here to serve with middle school boys.
Junior high ministry, all of you. If you want to get involved, honestly, I'm going to be in the cafe after service, and so please come find me, find Morgan. We would love to talk to you about just kind of what we're kind of passionate about, what we see coming up, and how you can help with that. Also, obviously, you can go on online, join the Dream Team. You can write it on your Connect card. If you're intimidated by my stature, I get it.
Yeah.
And you want to just write it on a Connect card, that's cool. So that's the best way to get involved, is just find us, write it down, let someone know, and we will seek you out, because I'm coming after you.
Yeah. When are we kicking things off?
So we want to start with meeting with some of you as leaders and just beginning to pray over the students and gather and plan and dream and vision. And so we want to start doing that towards the end of March. But we officially will be starting student ministry closer to the end of April. And so we really want you guys to be watching for that, watching for those dates, and praying and just getting excited with us, because we are, like Morgan said, just really pumped about seeing God just really impact this generation in such a way that I think will change Asheville.
It's going to be good. You guys excited about student ministry? Come on. So Mikey and Morgan, like all of our full-time staff, are going to be raising 100% of their salary that they receive from the gathering for the first 3 years. All of our staff have done it, and it's a lot of work, but it is rewarding, and it allows us to grow our church while being good stewards of the finances that God is giving us. It's a huge step of faith, but it allows us to keep moving forward in the way God is calling us to move forward. And so here's the ask today. If you want to see the students of our city set on a clear spiritual pathway, then invest in this family. Invest in this family so they can invest in yours, so they can invest in countless other families who have not yet found freedom, who have not yet discovered the gathering, that their students are asking these questions, that are going through these difficult seasons of transition in a culture that is absolutely attacking them at the core of their identities. Let's partner with these guys so that we can go forward with this ministry. Giving to support staff shouldn't take the place of a tithe. We don't consider that a part of the tithe. We feel like God's called us in that tithe area to give to the ministry of the church. But if you want to give above and beyond your regular tithes and offerings, please consider supporting these two. Even $50 a month is going to make a huge impact for them. So you can do that on our giving website. If you go to our giving website, just choose the drop-down menu for Michael Holmes, and you'll be able to set up monthly giving there. We recommend setting up monthly giving. Literally any amount will make an impact. And so I would really encourage you guys to partner with this family, because they're about to do some incredible things in the city of Asheville for the kingdom of God. Will you guys give them a hand one more time? Thanks, guys. I got it. Don't worry about it. All right, real quick, I'm wrapping up. I know we're a little bit over in time, but I really got to share 2 more things with you, and then I'm all done. 5 more minutes, I promise, okay? So the next big thing for 2018 that I'm very excited about is missions. Missions. We believe that there is a mandate on us as the church to bring the gospel of Jesus to the far reaches of the earth, to go beyond our own borders, outside of our own culture, to step into areas where they are desperately in need of a clear spiritual pathway, pointing them towards what they were created to do in the heart of God. And so we have been partnered with, for the last year now, an organization called L'Envoi. Now, if you remember from last year, or maybe you're not aware yet, L'Envoi is an organization that goes into Guatemala, into these remote villages, and they create a secondary school, basically a middle school, high school, for the students there that did not previously exist. So these students had absolutely zero access to a higher education and eventually to college, and so they were trapped in a cycle of poverty. By creating these schools in these villages, we're unleashing these kids' potential for their future. So we've been partnered financially with L'Envoi for the last year. Part of your giving is going to support this ministry there and the future of these kids there. But we want to take it a little bit deeper. We believe that if we're going to partner with somebody, that we really want to go all in. It's who we are. We believe in having a high impact when we go in on partnering with someone. And so next Monday the 26th, Robbie Denson and I and my dad are going to be going to Jocanal and Chichimecas, the two villages in Guatemala where the schools are being started and have been running. And we're going to be sitting down with the elders of the villages, getting to know the spiritual leaders of the village, getting to know the families of the parents of kids who've been impacted through the schools, and talking to the founder of the organization who lives in Guatemala City about how we can be further involved. Essentially, we're going to be feeling out the need for us to bring teams down there and what we can do to help in a sustainable way. It's very exciting. It's going to be an awesome trip. I would covet your prayers for us on this trip, that God would give us clear direction and clear vision on this trip. And our hope is that God will show us, we will make the right connections, we'll be able to see the need, and that in 2018, we'll be able to start bringing teams of people to Guatemala to start investing in these communities. Isn't that exciting? Come on. We're excited about this year at the Gathering Church. We just believe that God's going to keep doing more. That one of the things that I often pray about with our staff when we're meeting together is just that God would keep doing more. That whatever He's doing, that He would just keep doing it, and that it would just continue to blow us away. That we would continue to be surprised by it. That we would continue to be amazed at what is happening here. And we believe that this really is just the beginning. That He's just getting started. And we're going to continue, as always, to press in on a clear spiritual pathway, because we believe that in our city, that in this time, that folks desperately need just a simple next step to keep moving forward. And this thing will always be a part of who we are and who we continue to be. We believe that church should be simple, that we are all on a spiritual pathway and our next steps should be obvious. That's why we put those steps in front of you as often as we can here. And the pathway is simple. We want you to know God, to find freedom, to discover purpose, and to make a difference. In Ephesians chapter 1, 17 through 18, it says this in the Message. But I do more than thank. I ask. Ask the God of our Master, Jesus Christ, the God of glory, to make you intelligent and discerning in knowing Him personally. See, we believe He wants you to know Him. Not just to know about Him, not just to hear rumors, not just to understand that this is an object of worship, but to be in a relationship with a Father who created you and loves you and wants to know you deeply and intimately. Your eyes focused and clear. We believe He wants you to find freedom from the things that distract and distort your ability to see, so that you can see exactly what He is calling you to do and grasp the immensity of this glorious way of life He has for Christians. He wants us to discover our purpose and make a difference. So here's to making a difference together. We celebrate all God has done, all He is doing, and all He is going to do. We believe the best is yet to come. Would you pray with me this morning? Father, we just honor You for the last 2 years, God. We honor You and thank You for what You've done. We thank You for everything that You've provided for us, God. We thank You for the miracles that we've seen. We thank You for the lives that have changed, the lives that will forever be changed by what You've done here, God. We thank You, Lord, for the way You've changed my heart and my family, God. And Lord, I just ask that You would just continue to do more, that this year You would just pour out more blessings, God, that we would see students absolutely transformed in 2018, God. that these villages all the way down in Guatemala, that they would be touched and that you would equip them to even change our hearts this year, Father. That, God, you would just continue to bless and God, that you would just lead us closer to who you've made us to be this year. We pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Would you guys stand with me? We're going to worship together this morning, and I just want you to celebrate with us. You know, next week we're starting a brand new series. It's called Do It Scared. Do It Scared, because when God calls us to do things, sometimes it can be a little bit scary. When God calls us to an adventure like this, when He says, I want you to move to a new city and start a brand new church because people are in need of it, it's a little bit scary. And it's always scary. There's no exceptions to it. Anything God asks you to do is going to come with fear attached, because it's always more than you're able to do on your own. But over the next 3 weeks, we want to just encourage you to do it scared. We want to encourage you that that's what faith is. Faith is when you do it scared. Faith is when you step out. Faith is when you believe that even if you don't have everything that it takes, God does. And that's the story of the Gathering Church. That's my story. That's my family's story. And I hope it'll be your story as well. And so bring somebody. Don't come alone next week. Bring somebody. Come on. We can't wait to celebrate in that with you. Let's worship together this morning.
Let the King of my heart be the mountain that I run, the fountain I drink from. Oh, He is my song. Let the King of my heart be the shadow where I hide, the ransom for my life. Oh, He is my song. 'Cause you are good, you're good. Oh, 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 let the King of my heart be the wind inside my sails, the anchor in the waves. Oh, He is my song. Let the King of my heart be the fire inside my veins, the echo of my days. Oh, He is my song. Let the King of my heart be the wind inside my sails, the anchor in the waves. Oh, He is my song. Let the King of my heart be the fire inside my veins, the echo of my days. Oh, He is my song. 'Cause you are good, you're good. Oh, you are good, you're good. Oh, you are good, you're good. Oh, you are good, you're good. Oh,
You're never gonna let me down. You're never gonna let me down. You're never gonna let me down. You're never gonna
never.
Come on, let's believe it this morning. You're never gonna let me down. You're never gonna let me down. Oh, no, no. You're never gonna let me You are good. You're good. Oh, you are good. You're good. Oh, we believe you're good. So you're good. Oh, you are good. You're good. Oh, lift it up. You're never gonna let me down. We believe it. You're never gonna let. Thank you, Lord. You're never gonna let me down. You're never gonna let me down. We thank you, Lord.
So when we moved to Asheville, we Google searched non-denominational churches in Asheville and found a couple that we felt like would work for us, and we liked the Gatherings website based on what they said and what they didn't say, so we chose to check them out on our second week here in Asheville. And we were instantly greeted by the Connections pastor, who really made us feel welcome, and he made it a point to connect us with another family that was from Hendersonville, just to make us feel more welcome and have somebody that we could relate to right away. And then we checked our kids in, and they had a great time, and then we attended service, which we felt was really solid and biblically sound, so that made it really important to us to not just feel good at the service, but to also agree with what they were saying. And so for the next month, we decided to attend service and continue to go to Growth Track and figure out, more about the church and then about ourselves. And finally, at the end of those 4 weeks, went all in and went to become part of the serve teams. Nick joined the setup team, and I did coffee. We'd have all our kids running around, and everybody was helping each other out, and really being a family and just taking care of one another, and really gave us the opportunity to get to know people as we served, just having that extra time together before service started. So that really made us start to feel like we were having a home and a community here. As the new year started and life groups started up, we decided to join life groups. And that was actually Nick's first experience ever in a small group setting. And we joined with John Mark and Rael, and they were a really great segue into what that is. And John Mark really helps with leading it so that nobody feels awkward. And I think that gave Nick a really safe space to feel like he could develop. And then just a couple months later, when baptism was brought up as an option for people to publicly profess their faith, Nick chose that, and he proclaimed it with a whole lot of enthusiasm, and that's how he married me too. He said that big "I do," and he's really excited to just say "I do," fully surrender my life to Christ, and that happened because of the gathering. So we couldn't be more thankful for that journey and what that means to our family, for him in leadership, and how we make decisions as a family now. It just really has changed things in a positive light. Nick has really had some great guys come around him to mentor him. There have been some amazing people in our life that have just held us accountable and challenged us, but loved us and helped us to grow to where we are now. I just feel like the gathering is such a big part of God showing us that He called us here for a reason, and showing us that purpose, and the friendships and just the family that we've developed here really blow our minds all the time. We just think about how deep and authentic they are, and how close we are with the people that we do life with here at the gathering. In just 1 year that we've been here compared to the 6 years that we lived in Colorado. So it's just for us confirming that God called us here for a reason, and that He has work to do in our lives and through our lives. So that's our story.
What a good day. What a good day. So glad that you're here and that you joined us and celebrated with us. We get just one more part to the service and we'll conclude, we promise. We have a value and a belief of meaningful generosity, and this is the part in our service where we do that. And so if the gathering is home for you, and let me just reiterate, if this is your first time with us, this is not for you. This is just not for you. Okay? And so if the gathering is home, we ask that you do partner with us in meaningful generosity. And what does meaningful generosity? If you paid attention today, you know what meaningful generosity is and what it means to us. And there's stories for days that we could share about what God is doing in this city through the local church. So what we're doing here means something. And as you give, we can do it better. We can do it more effectively. We feel that God wants to blow this thing up. And so we are excited about where the gathering is going. And we want you to partner with us in this and own it and be invested in what God is doing in and through the gathering church. And so there's many ways to give. We want to make it as easy as possible. And so on the screen behind me, there's all different ways to give, to set up monthly giving, to give here in just a few moments as we receive our tithe and offering. But let me pray over this. We got one more big song for you, and we're going to hang out in the cafe for a few minutes and grab one of those awesome looking cupcakes and talk to some Dream Team members. God, I thank you so much that, God, that the 2 years that we've been here have been glorious years, God, that we have developed friendships and relationships, and we're starting to chip into this city, God, and we're starting to see that holy hot tub come to pass. And God, we're seeing you felt and experienced in ways in people's lives that they never thought possible, and people are coming back to you, and people are experiencing you for the first time. And God, and much of that is because so many people have bought into what you're doing, and they give meaningfully, not just of their finances, but of their time and their effort and their talent. And God, so right now we give meaningfully and joyfully because we know the best is yet to come. In the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen.
All right, guys, let's put our hands together. This one's going to be a little bit familiar for you since we did it this morning. I was buried beneath my shame. Who could carry that kind of weight? It was my tomb till I met you. I was breathing but not alive. All my failures I tried to hide. It was my tomb till I met you. Yeah, you called my name and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. You called my name and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. Your freedom is all that I know. The old made new, Jesus, till I met you. Yeah, you called my name and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. You called my name and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. Out. I needed rescue. My sin was heavy, but chains break at the weight of your glory. I I needed shelter, I was an orphan. Now you call me a citizen of heaven. When I was broken, you were my healing. Your love is the air that I'm breathing. I have a future, my eyes are open. 'Cause when you call my name, I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. Thank you guys for celebrating with us today. Come eat some cupcakes, meet some people. You guys have a great day. We'll see you soon.
You're holding on to me. My life will always be in your hands. Oh, you're holding on to me. My life will always be in your hands. No, you won't let me go. Woo, I'm ready to chase impossible, walking away from what I